by only OLX Autos gives the best price for your car.
Good evening and welcome. You're watching the Newstrack. I'm Rahul Kanwal. BJP's expelled spokesperson Nupur Sharma being summoned by the Maharashtra police. Is she now being harassed after actions already been taken against her by the BJP central leadership? That and all the details from India and the world over on this big story coming up on the Newstrack tonight.
Nupur Sharma shockwaves escalate. FIRs and death threats pile up on Nupur. Trouble mounts for sacked BJP face. Emboldened hardliners baying for blood. Are these shockwaves forcing massive churn in BJP? The Nupur quake.
Shockwaves triggered by Nupur Sharma continue to escalate. While more Arab countries have condemned her comments on the Prophet Muhammad, FIRs and death threats are piling up against the BJP's suspended spokesperson. Nupur Sharma has been summoned by the police in Maharashtra. Are these reactions forcing a massive churn and consternation within the BJP?
The outrage is growing by the day. Regardless of their apology, regardless of party action, and regardless of India's rejection of criticism by the 57-member Organization of the Islamic Conference. The diplomatic storm over the remarks of Nupur Sharma and Naveen Jindal continues to build up in the Islamic world. A close ally of India and home to more than 3 million Indian expats. The United Arab Emirates is the latest Muslim country to condemn the former BJP leader's remarks about the Prophet Muhammad. The statement from this key Arab partner came barely months after India and the UAE signed a broad agreement to increase their annual trade to $100 billion within 5 years. So far, 15 Islamic countries, including Qatar, Kuwait, Iran, Afghanistan and Indonesia, have condemned the remarks. In his tweet, Oman's Grand Mufti Sheikh Ahmad Al-Khalidi has even called for global Muslim solidarity in response to the comments, and Qatar expected a public apology from the Indian government, a demand underplayed back home.
People are entitled to their opinion. That is not important. We should not, India cannot bother about these small reactions. But we have to be careful about protecting our own tradition. And our own tradition is not tolerance, respect and acceptance for all traditions.
Meanwhile, security for Nupur Sharma, now suspended from the BJP, has been tightened over an increased threat perception. At the same time, at least 3 cases have been registered against her in Maharashtra alone for hurting religious sentiments. Sharma has been summoned by the Mumbra Police in Thane. The BJP may have distanced itself from the controversy that's taken an international turn, but the polarizing debate around it is far from over in domestic politics.
The action is to be initiated. The speeches of Owaisi and others is a direct effort to incite violence. Why should action not be taken against him?
A bilateral trade of around $100 billion and millions of dollars in remittances from Indian workers in the Gulf. India, the world's 3rd biggest importer of oil, gets 65% of its crude from that region. No holds barred religious rhetoric has clouded an important international relationship, at least for now. Bureau Report, India Today.
Is the BJP drawing a new line for its spokespersons and for its members? Will action against Nupur and Naveen lead to an improvement in the quality of public dialogue? And why is the Maharashtra government summoning Nupur Sharma, given the fact that action has been taken against her by her party already? Joining me to talk about this one issue which is being debated and discussed inside political circles and outside, I want to welcome first a well-known advocate, Mahesh Jethmalani, closely associated with the BJP. Also with us is Priyanka Chaturvedi, Member of Parliament, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. Zafar Sareshwala joins us. He is been with the Maulana Azad National Urdu University, has been closely associated with the rise of Prime Minister Modi and has seen him as Chief Minister and now as Prime Minister for several decades. Sudhindra Kulkarni joins us, well-known author, analyst. He was closely associated with the Vajpayee Advani BJP and will give us some sense of how the dialogue has been becoming shrill. Ratan Sharda joins us. He is a writer, socio-political analyst, and also someone who leans towards the RSS. I want to go across to Mahesh Jethmalani first, because you put out a tweet saying that Nupur Sharma isn't fringe, which she isn't, because she's a national spokesperson of the BJP. The BJP, the MEA tried to dismiss her as a fringe element. Do you think that a new line is being drawn, and do you think this action against Nupur Sharma, which has seen a huge pushback for the senior leaders in the BJP from within their own supporters, will lead to an improvement, or could it lead to a deterioration of the level of public dialogue? Mahesh.
Well, you know, I think that what has been done has been salutary because, you know, a few months ago, I had appeared before the Supreme Court and Justice Kaul had actually echoed something which is after my own heart, and he had said, you know, I hope that the standard of debate, particularly in the media, improves, and you know, it's not so that it isn't so polemical and you know, to some extent hate-filled. And I think that drawing this suspension is in some sense a benchmark now, that you know, while you can have lively debates, right, there has to be some sense of civility during the course of debates. The other side is not your enemy, right? You may have religious differences, but even when you debate those differences, you debate them with the utmost civility and politeness, and you certainly don't cross red lines where you hurt the sentiments of other people. I mean, if that's the message the party is sending out, I'm glad for it, and I think it should be encouraged. And I hope that all national spokespersons of all parties remain within, you know, the bounds of decency.
And when action has already been taken against Nupur Sharma, Priyanka Chaturvedi, why is the government in Maharashtra, through the police in Mumbra, sending summons to Nupur Sharma? She's already been acted against. What she said was inappropriate. She's expressed regret. Why then turn this into a police case? Isn't that victimization?
So, firstly, I'm quite in agreement with what Mr. Jethmalani said about red lines not being crossed. Unfortunately, the red lines have been crossed since 2014 onwards, and we've been seeing the kind of debates, the wild debates that have been happening on television channels, which I have also raised with the Information and Broadcasting Minister, that we need to start drawing a line somewhere. But considering this line has been drawn after the Gulf countries have come up in arms, and for the first time ever in India's diplomatic history, we've had to issue a clarification to as many countries on this particular issue, and calling the national spokesperson of a party which is in power as fringe elements and those working against the interests of the nation is actually very unfortunate. That we came to draw a line only when 14 countries came up in arms. That's point one. Point two, I don't know since when did governments, you know, maybe that's how the central agencies work, at the behest of the central government. But Maharashtra government does not actually control the Maharashtra police and tells them what to file an FIR and where to file an FIR and which cases to pursue. If any citizen has felt offended with a speech that was spoken, there are enough sections in the IPC to book them under. Are you trying to say that Maharashtra government is influencing the Mumbai police on what cases to file and what not to file?
Mahesh Jethmalani, you buy that? Or do you think Nupur Sharma is being victimized unnecessarily through these summons?
I'm sorry.
Or can the government get away by saying...
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Allow me to complete.
Okay, go on.
I'm sorry. You must then ask the Home Minister to do away with those IPC sections which lead to harassment. I have been saying this multiple times over. If somebody is feeling offended, isn't it the right of a citizen to approach the police? And isn't it the job and responsibility of the police to note that particular complaint down? How did it become harassment?
What does this have to do with the Maharashtra government? You've got somebody feeling harassed and they've gone and filed this complaint. It's Mohammad Gufran Khan, a teacher, who's the complainant against Nupur Sharma. Why blame the government of Mr. Thackeray? I'm asking Mr. Jethmalani to respond to that.
So all I'm trying to... Is that for me?
Yes, no, I'm getting Mr. Jethmalani to respond to that.
Sorry, Rahul, between in the sort of intervention of Priyanka, I lost track of your question. What exactly is your question?
So do you think that the government is responsible for the summons against Nupur Sharma? Is she being harassed? Because Priyanka Chaturvedi says, what does the Maharashtra government have to do with it? You've got a gentleman by the name of Mohammad Gufran Khan. He's feeling offended. He's filed a complaint. She's been summoned. The Thackeray government in Maharashtra has nothing to do with it. Don't blame us. It's not as if we want her to be harassed.
Well, I don't want to get into the politics behind why Mr. Sanjay Pandey acts. I mean, but 153A has actually been more frequently used by state governments in opposition than the BJP. It is more frequently used by the state governments, both in West Bengal, I've noticed, and particularly in Maharashtra. They did it recently in the case of Navneet Rana and her husband. So there seems to be a pattern over there, but that's fine. I don't attribute motives to any police officer, though I'm a little surprised that there have been 5 FIRs filed in Maharashtra, or at least 3, if not 5. I'm not sure what the number is. It keeps increasing. But as I said, I won't attribute any motives to the Commissioner of Police or the concerned police station where this is happening. But there does seem to be a pattern where 153A is more frequently invoked in Maharashtra than in any other state. And while the opposition has been screaming for the abolition of 124, the sedition section, it still continues to be invoked by the Maharashtra government. Though recently I've seen that better sense has prevailed and they've dropped the case of the Ranas. But, let's keep the politics out of this. But there seems, more than the politics is, if you are really concerned about, rousing communal passions and creating communal disharmony, then on that television debate, Nupur Sharma was not the only person. Actually, she did it in retaliation to a rather offensive remark. I'm not justifying what she said. I think all national spokespersons, even under provocation, should be extremely balanced and careful in their response, right? But there were also some extremely offensive statements made by the members of the Muslim community on that debate on that channel.
Do you want to respond to the charge of there being a pattern, whether it's against the Ranes or against Nupur Sharma, the fact that Raza Academy has multiple charges against it, the fact that cases have been filed in several police stations, whether it is in Thane, whether it's in Faidoni, whether it's in Mumbra. So it's not one case. It suggests that there is a pattern to what we are seeing in Maharashtra.
Actually, I'm sorry, I beg to differ. Perhaps Mr. Jethmalani is not in tune with what is happening in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Assam. If you remember, an elected MLA of Gujarat was taken overnight to Assam on some particular charges. And talking about the sedition charge, I'm sorry, we did not drop it. And again, I have continued to say, we would have proved it in the court. Either we would have lost that particular charge or we would have won the case. The only reason why this has been dropped is because the Supreme Court has put a stay on that particular section till the government of India does not take a call, till the law minister of this country does not take a call whether the sedition charge stays or it goes for good. So that is a debate for some other day. Now, about a pattern, I'm sorry, there's no such pattern. If you were to look at patterns would emerge across the nation on this particular sentiment where people feel offended, where their religion is attacked, working across. Now, just because we ensured law and order prevails and we do not see a situation like it happened and unfolded in Kanpur, just because Maharashtra keeps its law and order the topmost priority, and if somebody is coming with a grievance and Mumbai Police is recording that grievance, I would rather say that we are preempting any such riots-like situations to take place, rather than repenting at leisure with what Uttar Pradesh government is doing. So I'm sorry, I do not want to get into the politics of it, simply because the bigger challenge here is today India has had to apologize to various other nations because of the work of a few people in the Bharatiya Janata Party who are national office bearers in entire country, and all the our IFS officers have had to do the explanation as to why this was being promoted, and no action was taken against this particular.
So let's broad base this for a moment. Mr. Jethmalani, you want to respond to this charge of BJP spokespersons embarrassing India internationally, and then I'll go across to other guests as well. The fact that you've allowed political dialogue to coarsen to a point where there's a massive pushback from more than a dozen countries, and this is embarrassing for India internationally.
Well, I think it has had a fallout. Nobody can deny that. I mean, you've seen the reaction. For anybody to say that what happened the other day, the statement that was made by Nupur Sharma didn't have an adverse fallout would be shutting a blind eye to the obvious. But having said that, I don't think that the Indian government has apologized, because the Indian government was quite clear that it has not. It doesn't subscribe to the views of Nupur Sharma, and which is why, although Nupur Sharma is not a fringe politician, her views, I believe, are of the fringe, even within the BJP, and even under what is called what is called the Hindu right.
Okay.
So I don't accept the view that India has apologized at all. India has had no call to apologize. A party spokesperson crossed the line, and that's where it rests.
But what we've seen over the past 48 hours, and I want...
Sorry, go on.
No, but what we've seen over the past 48 hours, and I want Ratan Sharda to comment on this, is a massive pushback against the top leadership, whether it's on internal WhatsApp groups of the BJP, whether it is in conversation between party karyakartas. They're not happy with the fact that Nupur Sharma and Naveen Kumar have been acted against. They would have liked the senior leaders to stand up. Why is it that you think, Ratan Sharda, that the BJP erred in taking action against Nupur Sharma? Why do you think the top leadership should have actually stood up and defended her, given especially the fact that there was the kind of international condemnation that we've been seeing?
Rahul, I would not like to speak on behalf of BJP. It's their policy matter.
Sure.
So I can say I was present in that particular debate. In that debate, what Nupur said was exactly what various theologians, various religious scholars have said. She did not add a single sentence to that. She did not make any mocking comment. But if you look at the background, for days together, Hindus were mocked, ridiculed, insulted. Worst kind of graphics were shown on the social media. No action was taken. And when she speaks, suddenly in the morning, somebody makes a dog whistle and thousands of people pour upon her. So I would expect the party to stand by her at that time. If it thought that there is something wrong, it should not have waited for 10 days to take an action on either side. It cannot be one-sided. So we must think about this, keep on talking on Nupur Sharma. Remember that for days together, this is what happened in the case of Gyanvapi. I have been around for a long time. This is what used to happen in Ram Mandir also. People used to mock us, ridicule us during TV debates. कि मंदिर वहीं बनाएंगे, समय नहीं बताएंगे, though it was in the hands of the courts. So we must realize that the religious debates, if you take, TV channels should stop taking religious debates first of all. If they do take, then there should be condition that the right to offend, right to quote correctly is available to everybody. It cannot be one-sided. If 295A is invoked, it can be invoked for every community, not for one community. Right to offend, does it mean that somebody had something, Hindus have gone to courts? Should it mean that if anybody says something, what did they say? Nabi ke beadbi ki saza santar se juda. So are we running a Sharia state or are we running a constitutional state? The people who claim that they are constitutional, they follow constitution, they then go ahead and quote Sharia to kill somebody, to throw stones, to run riot. Is this the way? Are we justifying riots? Are we justifying death threats by claiming that somebody is offended?
Atikur
Why
Rahman,
nobody else was
respond to
committing
this grouse that the likes of
creates a
Ratan
the
Sharda
society?
and many others have, saying that when Hindu gods and goddesses are made fun of, everybody hopes that the community should be irreverential, should be able to laugh it off, take it in its stride. But the moment something is said about Prophet Muhammad, then it leads to the kind of international backlash that we've seen over the past 72 hours.
Well, Rahul, without being any offense to my other friends, if the Hindu side never objected to any of the offending remarks by the Muslim side on the Ayodhya matter, is the Muslims to be blamed for that? Why you didn't go and file
They
an
did not
FIR,
throw
sir?
stones.
No, why you didn't go and file an FIR? Did anybody stop you, threaten you not to file an FIR? And here an FIR has been filed, which is completely within the purview of law. Nobody is violating any law. Now let the law take its own course. If some international community is jumping in and then things go out of the control of any of the governments or any of the establishments, are the people and the community and the religion is to be blamed, Rahul? And Rahul, are you not witness day in and day out? We are, debating on such topics since years together. Now today, Mr. Ratan Sharda says that TV debate should not be there on religion. Of course, yes, I agree. And both sides should be given an equal chance to respond. And this was the equal chance thing came on when I was on a television channel, on a national television channel, Doordarshan, with Nupur Sharma. We both had a very good interaction. She agreed to my points, I agreed to her points. This is the way debate should run. What if somebody is gaining and having their own say, drawing mileage out of it, be it the political party or the news channels, is the religion and the people and the community?
No, but are we, it's very interesting, whether it is from the Shiv Sena, Atikur Rahman, Ratan Sharda, we are hearing Sudhindra Kulkarni calls for maturity. In India Today has always, on the Newstrack, elsewhere, tried to push for as much sanity in public discourses as possible. We never let people speak over each other. We don't get, voices which are completely fringe and unhinged. We try and ensure, you hear polarized opinion, but you try and ensure that everybody gets a fair say and that they get to say their mind without turning into a cockfight. Now, do you think that new line is being drawn with what we saw from Sarsang Chalak Mohan Bhagwat, with the action that's been taken by JP Nadda and the BJP top leadership? Is an attempt being made to try and ensure that public dialogue is not coarse?
Rahul ji, if the BJP genuinely, sincerely draws a line asking not only its spokespersons but also leaders and people in the ecosystem that supports the BJP to shun hate politics and hate comments, violent comments, it's good for India, it's good for the BJP also. But let's see this not just in the context of what Nupur Sharma said, but what has been happening in the last 8 years of Modi rule. The Prime Minister just some 10-12 days ago said that the government has done nothing that has made India hang its head in shame. Well, India came very close to hanging its head in shame. The government has not apologized, but the government had to issue clarifications, and under pressure from almost the entire Muslim world, it has had to take action against not a fringe element, but a spokesperson of the BJP, a national spokesperson. But what Nupur Sharma said is not really an exception. She is not the only person, nor are such things said for the first time.
No, but a message has gone out. In the action that's been taken, surely even you'd concede that next time somebody wants to say something radical because they think if they do that, unke liye taali bajegi, now they know that there could be action against them.
True, but you see, we have to debate why the Prime Minister, the Home Minister did not condemn this and such utterances that were coming out from the BJP and the BJP ecosystem for many years now. The Prime Minister has not commented even once.
Ratan Sharda, do you want to comment on that?
Just a moment, before you go
yes,
to
yes.
others,
Go on, Sudhindra.
you must let me complete my point.
Go on, sir.
There were people in the so-called Dharm Sansad, it's actually Adharm Sansad, who gave calls for genocide.
Correct.
Who gave calls for rape of Muslims. Did the Prime Minister or the Home Minister say anything? BJP people attended such meetings. There were calls for economic boycott of Muslims. Did the BJP leadership say anything? Did they draw a line? It's only because of international backlash, especially coming from the Gulf countries, that they have done something. So we have to really question the honesty.
You're questioning the honesty of their move?
If BJP really does draw a line and implements it, it's good for BJP and it's good for the country.
You are questioning the silence of the senior leadership, Ratan Sharda, not speaking out when that Adharm Sansad happened in Haridwar and elsewhere, allowing this to fester, to reach a point where it leads to an international blowback. This should have been nipped in the bud, and the failure to do so suggests that the BJP leadership looked away when this whole momentum was building and such comments were being made.
Rahul, it's very funny that 100 people out of 100 million Hindus collect together, make some funny or some outrageous comments, are expecting PM to act on that or speak on that. Police action was taken. Has any government taken police action on the vile debates, vile kind of accusation be thrown at Hindus and insulting of Hindus by these Islamist fundamentalists? No. And the people who say that after Modi came to power, these things are happening. Do you forget the entire CA agitation was based on fictitious ground that it hurts the Muslims, Indian Muslims? There was nothing about it. Entire hijab issue was only regarding one school in Karnataka, and it became a national issue saying no hijabbing is allowed. The farmer agitation was converted to a hate campaign. Everything that Modi does becomes a hate campaign for opposition, and then you blame the BJP. A problem, the issue was that BJP owned up what was the mistake they believe was, and I again repeat, Nupur did not say different from what their Islamic scholars spoke. So let us not blame her. Blame the kind of heated discussions that happen. So if you think that religion should not be discussed, as I said again, it has to be discussed that the same way. So this hate has been started by opposition on every issue, right from demonetization to church attacks to nun rape to CAA to farmer bill to hijab. Everywhere you find people trying to create ruckus where the law doesn't even affect anybody. CA is the prime example. And if you say so, it is done by BJP. I'm sorry. I think you are putting BJP in a spot where it doesn't belong to. Why opposition members are never pulled up? Why they never passed a guideline? What kind of debate should happen? Why they come and mock everybody? Why they laugh and smirk at people who are trying to defend the religion?
You're blaming a general coarsening of dialogue, which includes actions of members of the opposition, and something which can't be blamed only on the BJP. Sudhindra Kulkarni, do you buy that?
No, I don't buy that at all. The fact of the matter is that it's not some fringe elements that were saying it. BJP functionaries were participating in these meetings. And time and again, the patriotism of Muslim community was being questioned. On television debates, in public meetings, they were being called Gaddars. And one union minister, even from a public rally, said, Desh ke Gaddaron ko goli maro salon ko. Nothing happened to him. Where is accountability? As I said, it's only because of the international backlash coming from rich Gulf countries that the government has had to do something. Nevertheless, I would say, if your question, if the BJP does draw a line and sticks to it, it's good for the country, good for the BJP. One more point. Whether there is fanaticism from the Muslim side or the Hindu side, from any side, we must condemn equally.
When someone like an Anurag Thakur makes an objectionable comment, he gets promoted. Tejinder Bagga gets a leg up. Kapil Mishra gets adulation and promotion. Ratan Sharda. Therefore, Sudhindra Kulkarni making the argument that they've actually seen others benefit by spewing hate or anger or venom. And therefore, before this, there was nothing which was telling them don't go there because it seemed like a road which led to prosperity and growth.
One, Now the cases are in the courts about Delhi riots. Who are being the accused? Is Kapil Mishra named? Is Tejinder Bagga named? Those who are named belong to certain political parties who had weapons, who had stored weapons, stones, acid, everything. It is very clear it was pre-planned. Now to put the blame on BJP or their leaders is trying to just, play funny with the entire facts of matter. So let us not get into this kind of shallow argument where you know that truth has somewhere else because police case has been there, people not being given bail, which means courts also agree that the instigators or riots are somewhat different. Having known that, you again keep on blaming BJP leaders. You say others should be blamed, but ever any liberal did anybody criticize people who are mocking Hindus, who were ridiculing Hindu faith? Nobody has challenged it. Not a single so-called secular liberal, including Mr. Sudhindra Kulkarni, has spoken as them.
Will we also see Atikur Rahman? Because
People who are there. People who say देश के टुकड़े होंगे इंशाल्लाह they are gaddar. Are they not gaddar?
नहीं पर गोली तो नहीं मारनी है ना सर.
This freedom of speech?
ना but you can't say गोली मारो सालों को ना. That's not right.
No, but whom? To the people who want to break the country, not the people who are out on the street for CA. Again, I say, was CA valid agitation? It was not. Did any secular have the guts to go out on the TV and say, dear friends, CA has nothing to do with Indian Muslims. Please do not agitate. They supported them. So this kind of hollow argument, this kind of shallow kind of support to people who are trying to disrupt peace is what ails liberals.
Atikur Rahman, in the advisory the BJP put out today to its spokespersons, telling them to calm the rhetoric, focus on Vikas development, not go away and be shrill, because members of the opposition and some of these Maulanas have also been responsible for making very shrill comments. Will we see that calm down as well in the way in which the BJP send this message? Will the other side also try and just pipe down and be more sensible?
Well, I think, Rahul, principally it should be. But what about the fringes then? Anybody who comes out with lavish arguments and sweeping comments is described as a fringe, not a party element. What about that? Besides this, don't you find this to be a vicious circle? Many things what Mr. Ratan Shada is saying, I agree with him, that when you create a vicious circle, sir, the circle is creating of the narratives, creating of the binaries, blaming each other. Is this good on your part? Goli Maro does not, fits you well, saying that no, he has a constitutional right to say that Goli Maro to those people who are on sedition side. So is this the constitution and a way of law? Besides, Mr. Ratan Sharda, if every day and day out you call a community people that they are the jihadis, their religion and their madrasas are teaching them jihad in the Quran, in the book, is this right? Is this not a narrative? Is this not a binary? Is this not what you seem to say that, okay, the things have been done, now mileage will be drawn out of this and some elements will be creating a consolidation of their lot, be them anybody. So that's a binary, that's a narrative, that's a vicious circle, sir.
Okay, I'm out of time. Ratan Sharda, very quickly, final comments before I wrap up.
See, today's debate was not about what madrasa are teaching. I did not comment on that. He's trying to force that dialogue on me. Is he saying that Himanta Biswa Sarma and Yogi Adityanath doing something which is unconstitutional? Are we saying that madrasa should not be modernized? Are we saying madrasa should not teach people the modern science and modern technology? That is the point. That's all.
We'll debate madrasas another time. The hope really was in this conversation that will a new line be drawn on all sides of the political divide, where there is less shrillness, more sense, less noise, more news. That I think is critical. That's something that we endeavor for. It'll be good if political parties also try and just calm things down, because this whole Hindu-Muslim, Pandit versus Maulana rhetoric does the nation no good. There are real challenges. Those are the challenges India should be focusing on. This is where I wrap up the Newstrack debate, and I'll be back on the other side of a quick break with more details emerging about the killer selfie taker in the Moosewala murder case. 8 suspects arrested so far. Details on the other side.
Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now.
The Ukraine-Russia crisis is ongoing after a month. Russia confirmed that it had fired a new hypersonic missile during bombing raids in the city of Mariupol. But what are hypersonic weapons? How do they attack the target? Considered the next generation of weapons, these missiles are characterized by their ability to travel at speeds of more than Mach 5, or 5 times the speed of sound. There are two types, the hypersonic cruise missile and the hypersonic glider. The latter is carried by a ballistic missile. The glider separates from its missile to reach the upper atmosphere above 50 kilometers. Then it hovers at hypersonic speed towards its target along an unpredictable trajectory. Anti-missile or anti-aircraft defense systems. Without propulsion, it gradually decelerates and can perform evasive actions such as zigzags to reach its target by thwarting opponent interception systems. The cruise missile, meanwhile, has its own propulsion in the form of a ramjet with supersonic combustion. Once in flight, the missile moves at high speed before diving onto its target. This missile flies at a lower altitude than the glider at around 20 to 30 kilometers and can maneuver in full flight, which is its advantage.
You are watching India Today.
Bollywood's biggest night returns. After a 2-year pause, it's back with a bang.
Welcome to Alpha!
I'm Dipali Patel and you will be joining me at the heart of the Alpha extravaganza in Abu Dhabi. The stars are all aligned on India Today.
So sorry.
Tonight at 9 p.m. on the news today with me, Rajdeep Sardesai. After the politics, it's police action. The Mumbra Police threatens to act on an FIR against suspended BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma. The big question, what's the best way to tackle hate speech in this country? Also on the show, an exclusive interview with Hamid Ansari. The former Vice President speaks on the reaction in the Islamic world to the controversy brewing in India. All that and much more on the news today. News without the noise.
With 7 more arrests, the plot to kill Sidhu Moosewala has become even more clear. But the key is held by a guy called Sandeep alias Kekra. That's a Hindi word for crab. Why is he called that? We're going to try and find out because his story is really unsettling. He posed as a fan outside Moosewala's residence, took a selfie with the pop star, and then apparently dialed the people who shot and killed the singer. I'm going to piece it together for you, decoding the blood trail that's just gotten much darker on India First at 10 p.m.
You don't bought the Newstrack. 8 more arrests have been made in connection with the Moosewala murder. But it is the role of Kekra alias Sandeep that is under the scanner. It was Kekra who posed as a Moosewala fan and tipped off the shooters about the singer leaving his home. Our crack crime correspondent Arvind Ojha with the latest.
A gruesome murder, bunch of mysteries, and innumerable CCTV video proofs. With every passing day, a new twist unfolds. India Today has accessed another stunning CCTV video of Moosewala's murder. In the video, killers of the singer can be seen at petrol pump, calm and poised, refueling the Alto car, which they had snatched after abandoning the Bolero car used for the murder. The video catches the killers day after they killed Moosewala in cold blood. Punjab Police has intensified its probe and has identified 7 shooters apart from one arrested accused, Manpreet, who provided logistics. Sources tell India Today that the shooters hailed from Punjab, Haryana and Maharashtra. On Monday, Punjab Police arrested a gangster named Kekra who tipped off the killers about Moosewala's movement after taking a selfie with him. Hunt for shooters is also on in Nepal. Delhi police believes some shooters may have fled the country. While Lawrence Vishnoi and Goldie Brar brazenly claimed responsibility of Moosewala's murder, major breakthrough from Punjab police is still awaited almost 10 days later. With Arvind Ojha, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Kekra connection holds the key to the Moosewala murder conspiracy. India Today was the first to unmask the man who allegedly arranged the cars for Moosewala's shooters. Now he's under arrest and could spill the beans about the Moosewala killing plot.
Single biggest CCTV evidence. It could turn the Sidhu Moosewala murder probe. India Today has accessed exclusive images of Moosewala's house taken just 10 minutes before he was gunned down. The footage shows people taking selfies near Moosewala's SUV. India Today has learnt that one of them was Kekra, aka Sandeep. Punjab police arrested Kekra on Monday evening. According to sources, Kekra pretended to be a Moosewala fan and was outside his residence. Kekra loitered outside the singer's residence for over 45 minutes. It is alleged that Kekra tipped off the shooters when Moosewala left his home. After the alleged tip-off, killers had started tailing Moosewala. The contract killers had used 2 cars, a Mahindra Bolero utility vehicle and a Toyota Corolla sedan. With each passing day, the details of the plot to kill Moosewala are getting murkier. Bureau Report, India Today.
The Sidhu Moosewala murder trail has reached Mumbai. Gangster Lawrence Vishnoi is now being questioned about the threat note received by Bollywood star Salman Khan. The superstar has told cops that he knew of Vishnoi from the time of the Black Buck case, but there is no recent enmity with anyone.
A reigning Bollywood superstar facing death threat from the same gang that killed singer Moosewala through a chilling handwritten note. Cops say the letter threatening to kill Salman and his father Salim Khan was found by a cleaning staff at the Bandra Promenade. The FIR lodged earlier mentioned that Salim Khan's bodyguard Shrikant had found the letter on the bench next to the actor's luxury condo. 10 teams of the Mumbai Police are probing the case and are scanning through 200 CCTV cameras around Bandra Bandstand. Statements of Salman Khan and Salim Khan, along with their bodyguards, have been recorded by the Mumbai Police. The letter exclusively accessed by India Today said, "Aapka Moosewala hoga," to the star and his writer father. The murder threat letter was signed LB and GB, possibly gangsters Lawrence Vishnoi and Goldie Brar. Gangsters who claimed that they ordered the Moosewala murder. Gangster Lawrence Vishnoi, however, denied all allegations of his involvement, telling Delhi police during his grilling that he did not give the recent death threat. Vishnoi had, however, threatened to kill Salman in 2018, prompting a retort from the star.
जब हम करेंगे तो पता लग ही जाएगा सलमान खान का करेंगे मारेंगे ही जाएंगे जोधपुर में मारेंगे तो पता लग जाएगा इनको अभी तो मैंने कुछ किया ही नहीं अभी नहीं मतलब कोई इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं
जब भी कोई कमिटमेंट करो तो पॉजिटिव करना नेगेटिव नहीं करना और शिकार टाइगर जैसे शिकार कोई नहीं करता है ना ये सबको पता है
Not taking any chance, cops have beefed up security of the Khans.
The police has also clarified that it can be a mischievous act. In this case, they have recorded Salman Khan's statement and they have not expressed doubt on anybody. But still, Mumbai police is looking for gang members of Vishnoi gang in Maharashtra to verify whether it was a threat letter or mischief by some individual. With camera person Samir Shanbag, Mustafa Sheikh for India Today.
This is where I wrap up the Newstrack tonight. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye. Good night.
Should you upgrade to 5G? Are you still wondering if you should get a 5G compatible phone? Well, it'd be a future-proof upgrade, especially with what 5G can really offer. 5G is faster, exactly 20 times faster than 4G. Experts are saying now that it's likely to bring a technological revolution. Unlike its predecessor 4G, which used longer airwaves, 5G uses millimeter waves, which makes it much faster. So say goodbye to annoying buffering when watching your videos. Why is 5G so fast? The millimeter waves are short, which means they have limited range and higher penetration. 5G also carries the promise of making latency disappear, which means that there's going to be less delay between sending and receiving information. So downloading heavy file sizes, of course, will take a few seconds. Can 5G make our cities smart? The idea is that 5G can create smart cities with more connected devices. For instance, increased use of connected or autonomous vehicles will impact lifestyle choices. This also begs the question of enormous amount of data it will generate. So, digital security will be an area of concern, of course, especially since 5G network is more difficult to protect than its predecessors. So, are you ready for the next upgrade?
You are watching India
Bollywood's biggest night returns. After a 2-year pause, it's back with a bang.
Welcome to Alpha!
I'm Dipali Patel and you will be joining me at the heart of the Alpha extravaganza in Abu Dhabi. The stars are all aligned on India Today.
Tonight at 9 p.m. on the news today with me, Rajdeep Sardesai. After the politics, it's police action. The Mumbra Police threatens to act on an FIR against suspended BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma. The big question, what's the best way to tackle hate speech in this country? Also on the show, an exclusive interview with Hamid Ansari. The former vice president speaks on the reaction in the Islamic world to the controversy brewing in India. All that and much more on the news today. News without the noise.
So sorry.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Everyone's busy finding what's trending. You're busy finding out why. India Today, for those who research before reacting. Download the India Today app now. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices.
You are watching India Today.
Bollywood's biggest night returns. After a 2-year pause, it's back with a bang.
Welcome to